Hey, folks, it is the Three Amigos. This is a show we record Tuesday mornings, and we don't plan or prep for these. We banter about two or three topics, and honestly, I have no idea where this topic is going to go. This one might go off the rails, so pay attention. This is something that I have seen, Dion and Matt have seen in their timelines on YouTube, and it really goes by a very simple title. They want you poor. So, Dion, when I say they want you poor, how does that hit you? What do you feel? How do you react to something like that?
So if I hear it from a person, my first question would be, like yours probably, who are they? But when I see it on YouTube, I know those videos get views because it's fear porn. Yeah. It's almost, it's not to the level, but it's in the realm of Crash Bros. Here's an extreme negative that's going to make you feel like a victim and give you an excuse to say it's not your problem, that you're failing at different things, that there is a they that's trying to oppress you, keep you down, keep you poor, benefit from you being poor, when in reality, you pay more taxes if you make more money. That doesn't mean that you're poor. And while some politicians might buy votes by saying we're here to help the poor, that doesn't mean they want to create more poor to get more votes. It means that they want the votes from the people who are already poor. So I'm hoping that people, when they see they want you poor, see that it's negative, see that it's clickbait, see that it's an attempt to say, play the victim so that you don't have to take action.
Right. All right, Matt, when you hear or see someone say they want you poor, how does that hit you? How do you feel? Where do you go?
How to demonetize in 3, 2, 1. I believe that they want people stupid, and largely they want them to follow an education path that only makes employees. It's largely what it is. That's why entrepreneurs usually raise entrepreneurs. That's why worker drones usually raise worker drones. And a worker drone is not somebody that works a 9 to 5. A worker drone is somebody that is bought into the system because of education, that I'm going to work my 40 for 40 for 40. That's it. That's a worker drone, right? And so I believe that this system is set up to create employees. And largely speaking, the system is now so broken, it doesn't even create good ones at that.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. I think the biggest, punchline is the Department of Education. I think that the biggest issue that we have is that there are great teachers. There are some great teachers that don't have the resources that they need. My mom was a teacher. There's some great teachers that don't have the resources that they need to get the most out of the kids that they possibly can. And it's essentially, in many cases, turned into glorified babysitting.
Yeah.
And so I think that sadly, society is set up to create employees. And I think that now the system is so broken that it largely creates even bad ones at that. And I think that moreover, I think that that is why I like Gary Vaynerchuk's message of do what makes you happy, because that will create a whole generation of happier people that are doing what they should. And when they're good at what they do, they are naturally more happy. The only downside will be is that we don't need 7.6 billion YouTube creators.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny when I think about they want to keep you poor, I kind of go to two different areas. First and foremost, like Dion, that's not how the tax system works, right? When I think about the tax system, right, the income tax system, the more W-2 or income, the higher the tax receipts. It's just kind of how it works. So I always thought that was interesting. But I will take the opposite side just for a moment, because I go back to my sales career. Folks are new to the channel. I was a high commission salesperson. I carried a quota for 30 years. And I remember one of my first line directors going out to the parking lot when one of our sales reps bought a 740 BMW. This is like 20
years ago,
5 years ago, maybe.
Yep.
And it was, at the time, it was a 6-figure car. Now all cars are 6 figures, I guess. So it's not a big deal. But back then it was a big deal.
Right.
And of course, this salesperson leased it. I think the lease payment back in the day was like $900 or something, which again, every payment's $1,000, but this is 25 years ago. And I remember the director being, doing all these things and, yada, 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 being excited, take me for a ride, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to him later because he's a buddy of mine, and he basically let the cat out of the bag. He loves it when his high commission sales reps buy liabilities because it makes them work harder. So I would argue that there is a system out there that wants to keep you on the hamster wheel and, working harder and harder and harder and harder. If you want to call that keeping you poor, sure. Keeping you stupid, sure. Again, I think getting wealthy is remarkably easy. Create more dry powder, become a lead at something, and do that for 10 years. That's it. If you want to be stupid and buy a 740 BMW on a $1,000 lease payment when you already have 2 other cars, you're just dumb. You're dumb. If you want to be a stimulus baller and take your $600 or $1,600 check and go buy a Rolex and flaunt it around the block for a while, you're dumb. That you should have saved that. So again, I don't know if they want to keep you poor. I mean, I know it's going to get a lot of clicks. I now call these people doomers or porn creators. That's what they are. They're just porn creators, and their medium is doom. That's what they are. And they're really good at it. And they're making $80,000 a month. So why should they stop? But people that watch this are just doomers hooked on that drip. And the only person getting rich is the creator. So it's kind of wild to think about. Dion?
Yeah, no, I totally get the perspective of the doomers wanting to create content, because I sent you guys a screenshot of a thumbnail the other day of 80% impending real estate crash coming, right?
Yeah, 80% in Florida. I'm like, what is going on with people?
So instead of calling that person out, the idiot that he is,
No.
I went into his channel and I looked and I said, okay, he's getting 230, 250, maybe 330 views per video. And then he does a crash video, 22,000 views.
Wow.
I'm like, if you're trying to grow a channel and you're not trying to help the viewer, you're just trying to help yourself, you make the video that gets the views.
Sure.
No,
If you want to help the viewer and you're trying to grow a channel, you make the video that helps the viewer, not yourself. And so I think after listening to the two of you, I think whenever anybody sees they want you poor, they should change the word. And yes, I think the education system is set up to make us stupid, make us drones. Monday, you literally, the Fords and Rockefeller said, okay, we're going to fund all this money for schools. And this is straight from Robert Kiyosaki. As long as you indoctrinate them to factory life. Like, oh, I want school to be Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. I want a bell to start the work. I want this many kind of breaks during the day. So you're programmed to graduate and move right into that lifestyle. And then you talked about your employers watching employees buy things. I ran a CDL school for the last decade, and I tried to teach everybody, here, buying rentals, you should buy rentals. Here's how you do it. 2 people, the whole time I worked there, ever did that. And then somebody would come in and say, I just bought a $700,000 house. I make $26 an hour. I'm like, yep, you want some overtime? That's going to benefit both of us now.
Yes, please.
When you think of they want you poor, it should be they want you controllable.
Yeah.
And if you are on the hamster wheel and you are self-generating the need to be on the hamster wheel, you are controllable. And
and you're afraid because again, I've been through multiple cycles. When times are good, like 2020, 21, 22, everybody's got a job, everybody's flexing, you got all this money coming in, you're a stimulus baller. Then the economy hits a recession or a soft patch. And now everybody's freaking out. You did it to yourself.
And I love that the fear sometimes is completely unfounded, but it's real to the person. I've had people tell me, I'm so glad I'm not in your shoes. You have all those rentals and now your interest rates have doubled.
What?
Oh, hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All the time.
And sometimes it can be investors. Now, I love my brother. I think he's great. He reached financial freedom. He has 10 paid off rentals. He did it with a HELOC. He took out a home equity line of credit, and we have this thing called anchoring. The first time that you hear something, you're more likely to keep that thought. His lender said, be really careful doing this. The bank can call your HELOC, your loan at any time. They didn't call it a HELOC, just called it a loan at any time. Meaning the lender was saying they can cancel the remaining amount so that you can't have access to it. You won't owe what you have out. You will have to make those payments. But my brother took it as they can call a loan at any time. So he's never had a mortgage.
Wow.
And until our trip to Portugal, when we had, and he probably still doesn't believe me with all the time we had to talk and Google and show him. He thinks that our mortgages, because it's any loan from any lender at any point in time, can be called. So that fear still exists in some people who are investors, who are financially free. So it's not just the average working person that hasn't educated themselves. Sometimes it's people who escape the rat race that don't have a clue how it works.
Yeah, residential loans are 30-year fixed residential loans are not callable. Let's just get that on record right now. Matt, any closing thoughts, and where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think it's, if you want something more for yourself, you know, the government wants you dependent on them. And that is on the education system, on the debt system, on the like, this is a consumer economy. They need you to consume.
Exactly.
Get back to consuming, monkey. Like, that's the way that they want it. That's what they want you doing, consuming. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I get to make up my own rules when I don't need to depend on them for anything. I need to depend on them for one thing. That's defense of our borders. That's what I need them to depend on. That's what I depend on them for, because I can't do it by my lonesome.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I'm pretty good. We can take care of the rest. And so, yeah, I hope that people recognize and understand that this isn't some political statement. It's just fact. These are facts. This is what it is. At the end of the day, the people that end up wealthy are the ones that recognize they want less than nothing to do with the system. They want to do everything they can to get out of the system.
Out of the system. Yeah.
So Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram, and we're doing almost daily updates. We've got so many projects going on right now. It's ridiculous.
I love that. Dion, closing thoughts on where they can find you?
So I think Matt nails it with, you know, the government wants you to depend on them, but the government is so good. They've finally done something good. They're so good at making people dependent on them that what the government needs is for you not to be dependent on them. That's why we have a tax incentive program that says, if you innovate, if you run a business, here's your tax breaks. If you create housing, if you update and fix and maintain housing, here's your tax breaks. And even doing that, Michelle, who watches all of our channels and comments often, and we've met, and she's a local investor here who's like right on the cusp of financial freedom, asked a question the other day of, what happens if everybody starts buying rentals? Right? What happens to the economy? And it's a great thought. I like the thought of, if everyone did, 100% of the people owned rentals, there would be no renters. But when you have a GoPro attached to a cat collar that gets 7 million views, and a YouTube channel that says, here's how you buy one rental at a time so you never have to work again for the rest of your life, and you can actually play with cats instead of watch them on a screen when you're at work, supposed to be doing other things, we get 2,000 views. Yeah. The concern of everybody getting into rentals is just not there for me. And you can find me right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom.
Yeah, I think you gave some great stats about that idiot channel talking about 80% off in Miami. Or Florida. I forget, it was Miami or Florida. And basically he was trying to grow a YouTube channel, getting a couple hundred views and not liking it. So he copied all the Crash Bros, went super negative with no data, created a crazy thumbnail, which was, you know, red and yellow, like all of them, with a house on fire. And he got 22,000 views. Folks, if you want to make money on YouTube, be a doomer, be a Crash Bro. If you want to have impact, slow grind.
If you want to make money, if you want to make money,
the individual,
if you, the person, want to make money, watch doers that have done it and can show it. Don't watch dipshit doomers that don't do anything, but quite frankly, are only lining their own pockets.
Yeah. And buying homes. All right, guys, take care. Next video. Here we go. Thanks, guys.
Ciao.